humans, it's just Martine and welcome to the start of another weekly reading vlog. My main reading goal this week is to finish my reread of A Series of Unfortunate Events. I finished The Vile Village last night, which I gave 4 stars and don't have much else to say about, except that the plot is thickening, which I'm excited about, and I'm now in the middle of The Hostile Hospital, kind of hoping to finish that today, but we'll have to see. So I'm making good progress, but it's still kind of a lofty goal to finish my reread this week, considering the fact that it's not the only thing that I'm reading. I'm reading lots and lots of other things, some things that I feel behind on. So it's just going to be kind of a crazy week in between 2 weeks of travel. So like I traveled last week and I'm going to be traveling next week. And so this week is just a little funky, but hopefully it will be a good time. It's Monday at like 12:55 p.m. so almost 1, and I'm just uploading my video for Wednesday, which is a NetGalley reading vlog. So that's fun, and I think I'm going to try to do some writing for school this afternoon, but we'll see how it all shakes out. On the one hand, I'm trying to ease myself today back into doing my schoolwork after spring break, but on the other hand, I got deadlines, so like we'll have to see how it all shakes out. It's the afternoon, and I just finished the book How to Change, which is a book about like change, but like from a social scientific perspective, and I gave this 3 stars. I mainly listened to it while falling asleep, but then today I listened to the last 2 hours. It was fine, parts of it were interesting, nothing much to write home about, so 3 stars, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Happy Wednesday afternoon. I've not been really chatty this week, but I'm going to take a few minutes before I have a Zoom meeting to fill you in on 3 books, I think, that I've finished since I talked to you last. 2 of them are A Series of Unfortunate Events books, and 1 of them is not. I finished books 8 and 9 in A Series of Unfortunate Events, The Hostile Hospital and The Carnivorous Carnival. The Carnivorous Carnival I very much remember reading, although some things happened that I obviously did not remember. I gave both of them 4 stars though. The plot continues to thicken, and especially I'm like directly in the middle of book 10, The Slippery Slope, right now, and I'm hoping to finish it later today. But things are happening in this book. Things are happening, and I'm loving it. And there was one scene that I have such a firm memory of, even though like I feel like I haven't read The Slippery Slope before, but I knew this one scene happened, so I don't know. I either read it and don't remember the rest of the book, or I didn't read it and my sister told me about it, but I feel like I did read it. So I don't know. I seriously don't know. With this whole series, there are some that I'm like not sure I ever read, and then others that I have very distinctive memories of. So it's very confusing rereading them, to be honest with you. But then I also finished reading briefly A Delicious Life by Nell Stevens, which is the Shelf This book club pick for March. It was picked by Lizzie over at Lizzie's Literary Life. The book club in general is hosted by Bailey from Is Bailey Reading. I forgot to update in the Discord for Shelf This the whole time I was reading it until I got to 90%, and I only updated at 90% because something crazy happened. I was reading it, really enjoying it. The writing's beautiful, and I love beautiful writing so long as like there's not too much plot behind it. Like I either want beautiful writing, no plot, or to the point writing with lots of plot, because it gets confusing, I feel like, when you merge the two. There are a couple instances where you can have both, like Strange the Dreamer, you can have both, but in general I like those to be separate things for me. So this was a book that was mainly character driven, but very beautiful language. Anyway, so the point that I was trying to make is at 90% I'm sitting there reading, and the whole time there had been this piano player and composer named Chopin, and I'm a fool, and I was like, well, obviously not that Chopin, right? Wrong. So it is fiction, but it's based on Chopin and his partner George Sand, and she was a famous author, and I didn't know that either. So I got to 90% before I realized that this was based on real people. It's told from the perspective of a ghost in a summer where George and Frederick go to this Spanish village, and they stay with George's kids to try and like recover because Chopin has consumption And so he's not doing well, and then the kids are doing like weirdly, and so George is like, we're going to go to Spain. So they go to Spain, and they're really seen as outsiders in this village, especially because George dresses in ways that at the time were seen as like ways that men dress. So like she wears pants and stuff. And so the village thinks it's like a really weird family, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're not even married, but they're living together in this place that used to be, I think, a monastery. Regardless, we're this ghost who like lives in the cloisters and follows them around once they get there. And we're also getting like moved back in time to when the ghost was alive to find out what happened to her as she becomes like obsessed with George. It was so good. I had a great time reading it. So I gave that 4.5 stars. I was going to give it 4 stars, even though I was like, do I give it higher? And then I entered all my rating in my spreadsheet, and like on Bookly, I'd written like 4 stars. Then I entered it in my spreadsheet, and no matter which way I like changed around the numbers, it was a 4.5. So I changed my rating to a 4.5. And I'm happy with that. Those are the things I have been reading. That's the update. Okay, it's later in the day and I just finished reading The Slippery Slope, which I'm also giving 4 stars, but I wanted to update you right after I finished because I've been meaning to talk about something for the last few books in the series, but always forgot when I was going to give you an update, so here it is. At the beginning of the series, Sunny Baudelaire, who is an infant in the beginning, just says like random things. And at first, the narrator, Lemony Snicket, says, which probably meant something like. And then as we progress in the series and Sunny gets older and older, her siblings start to learn exactly what she means, and Lemony Snicket is the same way. So instead of saying, which probably meant something like, he says, which meant. So that's an interesting thing to note. But what's even more interesting than that is while Sunny is still using like singular words or even just a couple of words together, she'll say a word that to some people is going to seem like nonsense, and particularly to young children is probably going to seem like this is not related at all to what's happening, it's not a word, whatever. But most of them are words, sometimes in different languages, but sometimes in English, that have to do with what she is saying. And I think it's hilarious to read it as an adult because I seriously did not catch on to that as a child, and it's making me crack up when she says something and I'm like, that's such a big word for this baby. And it's so funny. It's so funny because it shows that like big words seem like gobbledygook to people who don't know those big words, but really like they have meanings. I don't know. It just sends me. It sends me, and it's making it really enjoyable to read as an adult. I also think like I'm realizing as I read A Series of Unfortunate Events again now that a lot of how I approach vocabulary probably comes from my experiences reading this series growing up. Like the way Lemony Snicket, instead of giving you a definition for a word, explains it in a context. So he'll insert a word that the reader may or may not know, and he says, which means, and then doesn't give you the definition, but like instead the context. It's so hard to explain without an example, and I can't think of one off the top of my head. It's just so smart and fun and helps with the idea of like scaffolding the skill of context clues. So I just think it's magical, and like he doesn't stray away from using big words that kids probably won't know. Instead, he just makes them more approachable. And I think that's awesome. I think it's so cool and fun, and it only adds to the whimsy of the narrative. Vocabulary is cool. Whoever says you can't learn fancy words by reading kids' books, Lemony Snicket proved you wrong. Wowie wow wow. Happy Friday. Today I finished The Penultimate Peril, and out of all of the Series of Unfortunate Events books, The Penultimate Peril is the one I have an actual memory of reading. Like I know where I was when I was reading a particular part of it. So I know that I read it in 3rd grade because the memory's in my 3rd grade classroom. And the reason I have such a specific memory of it is because in chapter 2, there's a section where the text is mirrored. When I was in 3rd grade, I tried to read it, like have my brain flip it around, but I couldn't. And so I had to go hold the book up to a mirror. So I remember that I had to ask permission to like go to the bathroom, and then I like snuck my book in the bathroom and I held it up to the mirror to like read these few sentences. And the 3rd grade building was like pretty specific, so I just remember that very clearly. But yeah, I gave both of those 4 stars, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be reading the end and I'll be done with my Series of Unfortunate Events reread. I say reread because actually, although I've read parts of the end before, I've never read the whole of it. Yeah, I know. Weird to just not read the last book in that series. I don't know how it ends, so I'm kind of wondering how many answers we will or will not get, but I'm excited about that, and I'm sure everyone watching right now is also excited for me to finish it so that I will stop only talking about A Series of Unfortunate Events books in my vlogs. You know, I do what I can. But it's Friday night and we have the Magic Treehouse live show for February. I'm the reason it's late, so I'm excited to hang out with my friends, and then hopefully it will be a relaxing weekend. Oh, I also, exciting news, another thing that I can stop talking about now is I finally, this morning, finished watching Glee. The last season took me what felt like forever to get through, even though it was the shortest season, because it wasn't good. We're through with it now. I can officially now say that I've watched every episode of Glee, which is exciting. And today I started Riverdale. No idea if I'll keep up with it. I've just watched the first episode, but I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
You make me wanna be with somebody, doing things that I usually don't. Find my way through the hotel lobby, ain't the same when I'm on my own. All my friends think I'm with somebody.
Happy Saturday. I just got back from running some errands. I went to the Dollar Tree and I went to Publix, so I'm just going to quickly share with you what I got. I went mainly with the intent of getting stuff that will be useful on my trip to the conference next week, but some of this stuff is restocked. So we'll start with the Dollar Tree. I got this portable first aid pack because it said good for travel, and I'm a sucker for things that are good for travel. I got more cotton rounds because I'm almost out. I got more razors. I got this body wash. It's pink pineapple and mango, which seemed so nice, so I picked that up. I got a smaller medicine organizer because I have one that holds AM and PM, but I only need one of them, and for the trip I was like, it would be easier to have a smaller thing to put in my bag. I got toothbrush cases because the one that came with my toothbrush was lost to Harris's house, so I got some more. I got Vaseline lip balm because I'm going to somewhere much colder than here, and I think my lips will need the extra help. I got this tea tree night lotion for my face. I'm gonna try it. Okay, hear me out. I got a dressing container. I don't like dressing, but the reason that I got this is because they didn't have any travel bottles at the Dollar Tree, and the ones at Publix were super basic, and I wanted one that was smaller than that for my hair cream, and so I figured this would work perfectly. So am I a genius? Yes. So that was everything I got at the Dollar Tree. I saw some interesting looking books, but I didn't get any. One, because I knew I'd have to carry them back, and two, because I picked up a book the last time I went to the Dollar Tree and I haven't read it yet. So I have to read that before I get anything new from the Dollar Tree. That's my rule for during the semester that I just made up today. Moving on to things from Publix, more deodorant. I got B12 gummies. I got this electrolyte mix. This one comes highly recommended by one of my friends. It has 10 like packets in it, and it was only like $2.50, which is pretty good for this stuff. For the trip, I got these peanut butter sandwich crackers because I know these will be good to have in my bag so that I can have enough protein and my blood sugar can be regulated on the trip when I'm doing a ton of stuff. Same with this dry roasted edamame and these Cliff Bars. I eat these Cliff Bars so often and I'm almost out of them. They're the only protein bar that I'll eat. So I got some more of those. These, I might pack some in my bag, but I really got them just for fun, are the Ritz Bites with cheese in them because they sounded good. Then I got vanilla wafers because they were 95 cents and I wanted them. That's my Saturday morning haul. I'm gonna put this stuff away and then go grab lunch, hopefully while I read, because I was just listening to music while I ran my errands and I was gone for like 2 hours, so.
Uptown, on the road, I've been around the floor, rooftops, sliding doors, just wanna know you more. I hope you wanna be with somebody, spending all of the night moonwalking.
Happy Sunday. Yesterday I finished The End, which is the last book in a series of unfortunate events. Unfortunately, it's one of my lowest rated in the series. I'm giving it a 3.5, which is still a great rating, but it just didn't have as many answers as I wanted it to have. I'm officially done with reading the series again, so hooray! And other than that, I didn't get much reading done yesterday, and I think I'm going to work only on secret books today. So I'm going to end this vlog here. If you like to, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what series have you reread recently, and subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!